Hello, Mitesh here. Thanks for joining. Today we're going to look at Azure internal network load balancing. So that's a feature that's been released since April 2014. It allows us to load balance internal backend services without having to expose them to the internet, which is what we had to previously do. So if we look at our Azure portal here, we can see the objects that we've got in here. So these were created as part of our previous demonstration with creating static IP address, Active Directory domain controllers. So if we look at there's the two servers, and we're going to use the same environment, we're going to use the same network. So if we look at that network, we shall see the actual subnets that we're going to use. So we're going to build two web front-end servers, or we're going to just build two IaaS servers really, and just demo how the network load balancing works. So an example of where this service might be useful would be for Office Web Applications, or WAC, for SharePoint 2013, so which is an internal load balance service. So it's not accessed directly by users but by SharePoint internally. So we're going to use this subnet, OA1. We'll use static IP address, and we'll build this first server with 69, and OA2 we'll build that with 77. So then when we create a load balancer, we tell it which subnet we want to use. So we'll tell it OA1, and it will pick the first available one, which should be 68. So we're going to, again, we have to do this through script because it's not supported through the GUI at the moment. So we go back home on our portal, see the virtual machines, and then we'll switch over to our script. So this script's all available on the blog at miteshc.wordpress.com. So first, as usual, we'll set up the subscription, we'll set up the server names, OA1, OA2, which network we're going to use. We'll also get the latest Windows 2012 R2 image. So just run that. So for our first server, we're going to use 69. So let's run the test Azure script as we did previously for the static IP address, and it should say that it's available. And we'll start preparing the actual server build here. So yeah, it is available. So what we're going to do is use the Windows 2012 image to build a new small virtual machine using the OA1 subnet. It's going to have a static IP address of 10.0.0.69. It's also going to join the domain that we created previously. So we give it the domain name. We also give it the domain username and the domain password for us to be able to join. Now in our case it's the same as the local username and password, but we can change that once it's all built. So let's prepare that virtual machine. Good. And then what we'll do, we'll tell it to go off and build it. So basically we're creating a new cloud service, which is going to be VM cloud service. Let's just hit run while it's VM cloud service. So our cloud service this time is called OA cloud service. Previously it was called DC cloud service, so it's a new role. And our VM is going to be OA1, shows us there, and it's going to be in the same affinity group as North Europe. And this is our virtual network, which is VNet name, which we've specified up here, which is MC static VNet, which is the network that we looked at here, MC static VNet. So while we wait for that to cook, we should see it populating this, or we should see the cloud service first. So very soon. And there we can see the OA cloud service that we've created. So now once it's done that, it will start creating the virtual machines. So as we click on virtual machines, we can see our OA server is being created now. So I'll pause the video now and wait till it's finished, and then we can run the second part of the script, which is to build OA2. Okay, so we can see OA1 is now ready, up and running, and we can see the scripts completed. So we'll run the same thing for OA2. So it's just exactly the same script again, but with the OA2 and the OA2 subnet. Run that to build a script and then create the VM. Okay, so let's pause it again for a minute. Okay, so we have OA1 and OA2 up and running and ready to start using. So the next thing we need to do several things. What we need is IaaS installed on these two machines, so we'll run that again via remote PowerShell, so we don't need to log into the machines to do that. And what we'll do is, firstly, to be able to run remote PowerShell, we need to download a certificate which is on each machine, so we need to download that locally, and then we can connect via PowerShell. So it's the same as we did with the DCs. So, and then once we've done that, we send a script through it to it, which was install Windows feature, web server, and include the management tools. So let's do that on both servers. I'll do it on the one, and then I'll just pause it and do it on the second one, and then we'll log in, and then what we'll do is just change the background color or background text on each VM, so we know which one we're connected to for when we're ready to create the load balancer. So if we switch over to the script, so we'll enable remote PowerShell. So this is the script that brings in the certificate. So we're going to do that for our one. And then once that's done, it'll ask us, it'll build the credentials and the service name and server name, and then ask us for the credentials and run the script that we showed you to install IaaS. So what we'll do, we'll give it the domain credentials to be able to log into the machine and install that feature, which is demo. There we go. So I'll let that finish, and then I'll do the same for OR2 and we'll come back. Okay, so that script's completed for OR1. We've run it again for OR2 now and put in the password. So what we'll do now is we've got a remote desktop connection to OR1, so we can start using that. So what I'll do is I'll run IaaS Manager and show you how we change the background, and then I'll do the same on the other server. Run IaaS Manager. So we can see IaaS is installed and running. Go to the default website. Open the graphic. Insert some text. So we've got OR1, and we save that. Okay, and we'll do the same for OR2. Okay, so I've logged on to server 2, and we've just labelled that one up as well. And just to test that, if we go to our browser and type in HTTP OR2, we can see we've hit the right server. If we hit OR1, we hit the OR1 server. So now what we can do is create the load balancer. So we'll add the load balancer to our OR1 subnet, as mentioned before. So I'll go away and create the load balancer. And then what it does next is attach the load balancer to OR1 and OR2 here. So this is the name of our load balancer, internal ORLB. And it's going to run on check port 80 and run on port 80. It's going to check every 10 seconds on each server. So basically it's attaching the load balancer to each server. So that's created, so let's attach it to the servers. And then what we do is get some information about that load balancer, make sure we've got the IP address that we are expecting, or just to find out what the IP address is. So we'll let that attach. Okay, load balancer has been attached, and let's find out what IP address we've been given. We were expecting 68 because of the subnet that we put it in. And once we know what it is, yeah, 10.0.0.68. So now we know what the IP address is, we can add an entry into our internal DNS which points to the load balancer. So we'll do that next. So I'll open up our DC and open up the DNS console and add an A record for our website. Okay, so here's our domain controller and our DNS console. So we'll do at the demo.local, we create a new A record, and we could call that our service. Service.demo.local, and we'll use the IP address that we've been given by the load balancer, 10.0.0.68. Add that. So now when a server hits that URL, it should hit our load balancer and land on any one of our servers. So we can test that here. And because we've put the updated the graphic, we'll actually be able to tell which server it's hitting. Here we go, OR1. So we're hitting OR1. So Microsoft doesn't provide any guarantees or give us the algorithm which it's using, so it could be it's totally random, but it gives you high availability for any internal backend services. So here we go for OR1. We're hitting OR1 at the moment, so keep refreshing that. So what we'll do, we'll stop IaaS on OR1. So let's stop that website. Refresh that. And then automatically it's gone to OR2. So it's checked HTTP is not running on OR1 and it's gone directly to OR2. Oops. Clicked a different link there. So if we can refresh this as much times as we like now, and it'll stay with OR2 obviously. So let's switch them around then. So we'll stop it on OR2. So this is my OR2 box. And we'll restart it on OR1. OR1, start. Give it a couple of seconds for it to fail over. And then let's hit it again. So we should start connecting to OR1 once it's sorted itself out. There we go, it's failed over to OR1. So that's basically how we set up internal network load balancing. So you create the load balancer, attach it to the VMs that you want to actually load balance, specify which ports you want to use, and set up a DNS entry. So I hope that was useful. Thanks for watching, and take a look at my blog on miteshc.wordpress.com for all the scripts and further information. Thank you.